It is a privilege and an honor to be asked to join you today for this global initiative aimed at ending the humanitarian crisis in Tigray. As I said when I raised the issue first in South Africa, the plight of the people of Tigray tears at my heart. The killings, driving of people from their homes, the desperate need for humanitarian aid. This is all the more shocking in a country which is deeply respected for the fact that you were never colonized, that you expelled in short order the one European country which invaded you, and that you have such a rich culture and heritage. But when I see initiatives such as the one you have been promoting over the last 24 hours, it gives me new hope. As South Africans, we were helped to overcome apartheid by one of the world's most effective international solidarity campaigns of the last century. So we know how important global support can be in the struggle for human rights and how successful it can be. Thank you to everyone who has organized and supported 24 hours for Tigray. It is deeply appreciated. Your activism is particularly important because it seems that the United Nations Security Council is paralyzed over the plight of the Tigrayan people. News agencies and the Addis Standard reported at the weekend that 2 attempts to get a consensus statement approved have failed. Although a draft from Ireland calling for an end to the fighting and respect for international humanitarian law was supported by the African nations on the Security Council, Kenya, Niger, and Tunisia, and by the Western powers, it was blocked by Russia, China, and India. And there is no sign the African Union is doing any better. When South Africa's president was chairing the AU last year, he sent a delegation to Addis Ababa. But the Prime Minister rejected any intervention. Since then, the AU's top full-time official is reported to have effectively backed the federal government. So it is up to us in civil society and the faith community to take up the struggle. Last week, I wrote to South Africa's minister responsible for foreign affairs, urging her to bring pressure on the AU to take a more decisive stand. I would urge you to lobby your own governments in Africa and beyond, as well as companies which do business with Ethiopia. In the meantime, even the Ethiopian federal government's own Human Rights Commission in Addis is acknowledging in preliminary findings that Eritrean troops were responsible for the killing of civilians in the holy city of Asum, and that sexual violence, looting, and destruction of civilian infrastructure have occurred during the war. This, of course, comes after the Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch reports that both Ethiopian and Eritrean troops have been responsible for war crimes and crimes against humanity, including the massacre of hundreds of civilians. Some of those reportedly killed were women and children as young as 13. And this is apart from the displacement of tens of thousands of people and the humanitarian needs of millions more. We should not be too quick to cry genocide unless there is proof that Addis Ababa is deliberately setting out to kill all Tigrayans. But the level of ethnic hostility that we see on social media is frightening, and we must keep a very careful watch for signs of genocidal tendencies. We don't want a repeat of Rwanda, 1994. Already what has happened is shocking enough, and especially a nation which has such a long and illustrious history of achievement. What specifically should we be pressing for? It is primarily for those of goodwill in Tigray and Ethiopia to decide, by drawing on South Africans' experiences, I venture to suggest the following. Access should be allowed to all parts of Tigray to enable aid to flow. Journalists and independent human rights experts need to be allowed in and able to conduct investigations without hindrance. Foreign troops should leave Ethiopian soil, and the tensions between Sudan and Addis Ababa diffused. And finally, I suggest you need an Ethiopian and an African solution to the crisis of governance which you are experiencing. In South Africa, we got rid of apartheid by sitting down with one another in a process of what we call indaba, of listening to one another and finding consensus on a broadly acceptable resolution or solution. Let me conclude with the words of the leaders who promoted such a solution in South Africa. My predecessor but one, Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. In 1989, Archbishop Tutu spoke out against human rights abuses while visiting churches in Ethiopia during the Mengistu regime. He did the same in Mobutu's Zaire and Omar al-Bashir's Sudan. This was the rationale he used for speaking out in the way he did. If an elephant has its foot on a small mouse, he said, and you say that you are neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality. If you are neutral in a situation of injustice, you have chosen the side of oppressors. We, the African and the international community, defeated apartheid. If we could defeat apartheid, then we can defeat the forces of suspicion, bitterness, and hatred that we see in Ethiopia today. We were not neutral over apartheid. Let us not be neutral over Tigray. Let us pray for justice and peace for the people of Tigray and all of Ethiopia. as well as for those people of Eritrea and Sudan. God loves you, and so do I. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yeah.